Hi there, welcome to Transformer Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your 2025 Surveyor 19Mdble. We are just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you are pre-mounted for an observation camera as well as a liquid collapsible stair system. Both going to be great additions to your camper. The observation camera is going to help you see behind you whenever you're traveling or backing up, and of course the observation camera is going to be, and the ladder is going to be there so that you can get up to your roof to check all your seals periodically. And because this unit is equipped with solar, you're going to have to get up there periodically to make sure that's nice and clean. So again, great little additions. You can just contact your parts department to get set up with those. And then we'll get right at the back is your spare tire, and then you are going to have your 2-inch receiver at the back here. Just keep it in mind there's a little weight capacity sticker here. It's only good for about 300 pounds, so realistically that's good for a bike rack, and that's going to be about it. So just keep that in mind whenever you are using that. And then coming around to the other side of the unit, right in the corner, you're going to have your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this. You got this little notch here. You line it up with this little notch there. Pushing that in firmly into place, 8th turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar if you really wanted to lock that down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug-in. Now, most campsites should have this, like I had said earlier, but sometimes they don't, and they only have a 15 amp service, which is your standard household outlet. We do include that 15 amp park adapter. Just keep it in mind whenever you are using it. It's really only good to run your lights and your lights in your fridge. You're not going to be able to run your air conditioner. And also located in the corner, as well as all 4 corners of the unit, you do have your stabilizer jacks. You get your 3/4 inch drive tool here. You're going to run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just giving it an 8/4 turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. In addition to that, they are stabilizing jacks. They're not leveling jacks. Please don't try and use them as so, otherwise you do run the risk of bending them. And the same goes for running them up or down with a drill or an impact. Just keep it in mind how much torque you put on them. You got your cable satellite inlet right here, and then again, just right down below, you got your main sewer outlet. Just taking that cap, twisting it off, and just taking note of the ears on either side. They line up with the corresponding spots on the outlet. Click and lock into place. Then you got your gray valve and your black valve. You always want to empty the black valve first. That's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Let's say you're noticing false monitor panel readings or just an odor around the unit. You do have this black tank flush. That's to rinse out that black tank, but just making sure you do read the caution sticker, letting you know that while using it, you do have to have the sewer connected and the tank open. The reason being, if you're pushing pressure inside that tank and the pressure's got nowhere to go, it could expand that tank to the point of cracking, so just be mindful of that. Then coming up a little further up ahead, you do have your fresh water connection. So if you put a garden hose in there, or if you even want to siphon water in there, because that's what you do, this is going to be where you do that, and that's what fills your fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. And then right down below that, you get your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines without the needing to run your water pump. You got your hot water service port. Click that guy over. Main things you're going to worry about, you get the power switch right in the top left-hand corner. Turning that on supplies power to the thermostat inside. Now we're going to go over a few notes. If you've had a camper before and did the winterizing yourself, you probably remember having bypass valves because you had tank heater, because you don't want antifreeze entering that system. Now this system is the complete opposite. There's no bypass valves. You do run antifreeze through it. And once you're done your winterization process completely, just hitting that pressure relief valve and leaving it cracked open for the duration of winter. That way that antifreeze has a place to go once we get into those cold winter months and stuff starts expanding. And whenever you're putting this back into place, try and line the rubber donut up just to go over to that exhaust nice. That way you're sealing it off properly and it's not going to melt and seal. Right down below the floor, you got your few drains here. You got your 2 low point lines, hot and cold. So if you don't want water going stale or stagnant inside your lines, that's going to be where you empty most of it out. And then of course, whenever you're done your winterization process, it's also a good idea to crack them open. And then you do got your fresh tank drain, which is how you would drain all the water out of your fresh tank. Coming around to the front of the unit, you got your battery inside this box here. It is a 27 RV, and then you got your battery disconnect switch on the front A-frame with it in the off position like it is now. The batteries are disconnected from the unit. If you were to turn it to the on positions, the batteries are not reconnected to the unit. Then you got your propane tank cover here. Little wing nut at the front, you loosen that off, and then that would allow you to pull this cover right off to get at your propane tank, place it right dry. Now it's just like a standard barbecue style tank under there. Counterclockwise all the way, nice and slow to open up the flow of propane to the unit. pick and open that up. You're gonna have two little things here. This is gonna be for your stabilizer jacks, and then this one is gonna be a manual override for that front tongue jack in case you were to fail for whatever reason. And now way tucked back inside, there is a little table that you can connect onto the side of the trailer, in addition with your barbecue, which we're gonna get to in a minute. And then you got your starter kit, which comes with a 10-foot sewer hose, 15-foot water hose, and some other miscellaneous goodies, as well as that 15-amp park adapter, which I've already told you about. Then in the compartment, you do have a motion sensing light. Now there's two different settings. There's option 1, which is on all the time. There's in the middle where it's off, and then there's option 2 where it's motion sensing, so it'll only kick on whenever it senses motion. This is the setting I recommend leaving it on. You got a little portable sprayer here. The rail, which is where your rack barbecue is going to go. Got your furnace exhaust. Whenever that is running, it's going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. And then right up top here, you got your range hood vent. Always making sure you do unclip the flap whenever you get to your campsite. That way you can evacuate those propane fumes. Once you do start traveling again, try and snapping it back into place. That way you're stopping any excess dust from getting inside the unit. Got two regular household plugs on the outside, as well as a coax in case you want to plug in a TV outside. Then opening this guy up, this is where you get all your exterior griddle stuff, as well as a little water quick connect. It's just your standard garden sprayer. So you got a notch on either side here. Just gonna line it up with the corresponding notches here. Line them up, turn, twist, lock into place, and then you have sprayable hot and cold water. Pretty neat little feature. Take our little barbecue now. We're going to take that out, fold it out like so, locks into place, take it, lock it into the track, like so. That way it's on there, removing your two couplers, lockers there. Then you can grab the griddle, of course you have the top on it. You want to go grab it, but it doesn't right now, just because I just taken it off, so it's nice and lightweight. Line up the little rods, the corresponding mounts on the griddle, slide that into place, and you can take the cotter pins, slide them in so that way it's not locked and not going anywhere. Now you got your propane quick connect line. So fortunately for you, you do not have to carry a second propane tank on you. We do have a line plumb right into your system, so that you don't have to do that. Then you can just pull back on your collar here like any standard airline. Take this, insert it, and push it into place. Once it locks in, locked. I like to assist the regulator as I'm pushing it into place. That way I'm not bending or twisting anything, putting the excess spin on anything. Then you can take your other end, run it down to the bottom here. You're going to have dust caps on either end of your hose, as well as on this line here. You're always going to want to make sure those are back in place whenever you're not using them. Pull this cap off, and then it's just the same thing on this side. Pull the collar back, inserting the hose into the spot like so. Once it's locked in, you can open up your flow of propane with this valve, and as an added safety feature, you can't operate the collar whenever the flow of propane is open. So now you have flowing propane to your griddle, and you're good to go. Taking it down is the exact opposite. Of course, I'm not going to do it on camera today, just because saving time. So now for the best part, to get inside, you take your assist handle, push it up, hold it behind the grease, it's going to lock into place. That'll allow you to open up the door. Now you do have to have your door open all the way to fold your stairs down. Once the door is open, take the handle, pull it towards you. Stairs are going to start coming down. You got adjustable feet, you can have nice and level stairs. Just have to pull up on the latch and slide into the corresponding channels. Now before we step inside, I do want you to notice that with your door fully open, if you went to go around that awning, it's going to come into contact with the door, probably causing damage, which we don't want. So always making sure before you run your awning, you have your door closed 90 degrees. That way that awning can travel back and forth nice and freely. Once we do get inside, fire extinguisher is right on your right, pretty much just like home, pull the pin and shoot. And then up on the wall, you kind of got your control center a little bit. You got your interior light switch, which turns on all the main living space lights. Porch light turns on the little orange light outside. And then of course your awning LED switch, which is going to turn on that awning light. Next, you do your awning control. Push and hold the extend button. The awning can start making its way out. Once that awning is at its full extension, you're going to see the little black tube and the little flap hang down. Sometimes the flap gets stuck, so you might have to retract it a little bit. Try rolling it back out, straighten the fold down. Now, unfortunately, today I don't think we're going to be able to get the awning all the way out. Yeah, so I can't get it all the way out, but now if we were to start in, you can take any awning, front or rear, pulling down at the center. It's going to change the pitch of the awning bed, allowing water to now run off. Now, if you like that a bit better, because it allows for more shade underneath, you can do the same thing with the front arm, just making sure you do push those arms back straight before you bring your awning in. Whenever you have your awning out, making sure you do keep an eye on the wind speed. If they start picking up, you want to make sure you bring it in. That way you don't run the risk of bending your arms or ripping your fabric. It's pretty common. It happens too often. So just keep an eye on that. And if you do bring in the awning while it's wet, always making sure that you put it back out at your next earliest convenience so you don't accelerate the growth of mold or mildew. And bringing in is as simple as hitting the retract button. The awning starts rolling its way in. And once the arms contact the side of the trailer, the motor's just cut out and it's done. Slide out switch, so we'll go over a couple slide out notes first before you ever operate the slide out. Always try and make sure you know what's on either side of the slide, inside and out, making sure you have enough room on the next side to put the slide out. And then just doing a quick visual check, make sure that there's nothing caught in between the slide out and the wall, going to be causing any damage when you go try and run that slide out. To run it out, just push and hold the extend button. Slide out's going to start making its way out. Once it does hit its full extension, you're going to hear the motors wind up and click, and you can just let off the button. Whenever you're running your slide out, always try and do full strokes, so either go all the way out or all the way in. Now we know that's not always possible, of course, so it's not the end of the world if you have to do a half or a quarter stroke. It's just easier on the motor to do full strokes than you can. So you heard the motors wind up, so you can just let off the button and you're all done. So now that your slide out's out, you can start off in the bedroom kind of area. So you got currently set up the seating space. You're going to notice fire exit over here. Of course, pretty simple. Pull on the red tab. Screen's going to pop right out of place. At that point, you take your handle, push it, pop on out. Try and go feet first. If you go head first, it might hurt. So if there's a fire, you don't want to get burnt. To get the bed down, you're just having to take this couch, pull up at the foot of it. It's going to fold down. You can then take your travel latch, pull it, and you can fold your mattress and bed down, and you have a nice bed. Now those blinds, that blind up there does work pretty simple. Just sits where you leave it all the way down to shut out all the sun in case you want to sleep in if it's a long night. Then to get that back up, it's just as simple as pushing that back in, making sure it does latch into place, and then you can pick up the foot of your couch, push it and fold it in, and you're all back to normal again. Now there's tons of storage throughout this unit. Just always making sure you're careful of drains, water lines, and wiring. So since this unit is equipped with propane, you got your LP detector right there near the ground. If that guy ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit and open up some windows and vents to get some fresh oxygen inside of here. In your kitchen space, you got your sound system, which is pretty much just like home, minus the fact of zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 1 will be your interior, zone 2 will be your exterior speakers. Storage all around, of course. Right down below, you get your central vac system. So they do have what's called the dust paneless system. You load that up. It's gonna suck up anything that was in front of it. Now just keep in mind, whatever you do suck into it goes into a bag, so you're not gonna want to do anything sharp. Realistically, it is just built to suck up dirt, sand, and gravel. And then, of course, the central vac system itself, insert the tube, insert your hose, and you're good to go. Turn the switch on, get the bag, you just have to pull on the tab there and pull on out, and the bag is on the right. Lock that back in place. You got your convection oven, which is pretty much just like home. And then up top, you got your stove. So since we're going to be going over the stove, we're going to go over propane a little bit. So if you turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit or take off the bottle, it allows air into the system. Once the air makes its way into the system, it does have to be purged out. Now the quickest, easiest way to do that is through your stove, because you can run the gas valve for as long as you need. The reason I say that is because if you try and go and fire up your water heater or your furnace before you purge the system, it could throw you a fault code if it doesn't hit propane, because they only try lighting themselves a few times. And if it does that, it's going to throw a fault code, and that could throw some frustration to your weekend, which we do want to try to avoid. So the best way to do that is just by firing up the stove. So pushing the knob in, making sure you're hearing the sparkers going and seeing the sparkers going, and you're going to see it lights right on up. Now, of course, I did have the system running earlier, so that's why it did fire up so quickly. Typically, it can take a few minutes to get all the air out of there, so just be patient with it. But again, this is just the best way to do it, so that way you're avoiding any frustrations. Just being Careful with this as it is glass, putting it up and down carefully. Then right at the back here, you got your cutting board, which Surveyor threw in, which I thought was really nice and really cool. Finishes off the unit. And you got your fridge right next to it, fridge and freezer combo. The temperature controls for both are right down below, obviously on the right. All the way to the right, it's going to be as cold as setting. Anywhere before that's a warmer setting. You're going to notice some off-grid writing here. That's just letting you know the most energy efficient setting to have it on if you're on battery power. Then you do have a charcoal filter in the top left-hand corner here. That's to help with fridge odors. If you'd like to get set up with that, just contact your parts department. They'd be more than happy to get you a quote for getting some more. Down below, you got your main furnace outputs where the furnace is going to be putting out all its air. So if you want to get a couple fans, just to help move some air around, might be a good idea. In your dinette area, let's say you were to have a couple more guests than what your bunk beds sleep. This does fold down into a bed as well. Just having to remove the feet from underneath the table. Set the tabletop up on its desired ledges, and then you'd have yourself another bed. You just have to take your back cushions to fill in the center. You got a nice little light here. It just goes on its own center push button, so that's how you operate that. And then of course all the blinds in the unit are going to work the same way. They're just going to kind of sit where you leave them. And then one quick pull to allow them to retract back up. You got your bunk space, top and bottom. Of course, lights and plugins in both. And then you have a ladder that hooks on so you can get up to the top nice and easy. And then right underneath the bunks, if you fold down this cover, might be hard to get on camera with two of us, but that's going to be your main fuse and breaker panel. Whenever a breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it, and you have all corresponding fuses on the right. You got your TV up on the wall, pretty standard. It is on a swivel mount, so pull down on the rope here. That's going to unlock the TV and allow you to bring it out. Now, if you do bring this out of its natural position there, just making sure you're mindful if you try and run the slide out, it's going to cause damage, which we don't want. I accidentally hit the power button, of course. I'll get that off before I leave. Behind here, you're going to notice this little black button right next to the coax outlet. Now that is turning the antenna on the roof. That's also going to improve radio frequency and cell phone frequency, so we typically recommend leaving it on whenever you're camping. But whenever you are done, just making sure you do turn that off. That way you're not drawing out any battery power. To get this folded back into place, you just have to push, pull down on the latch, locks into place. So that way the slide out can come in and out nice and freely. Now for the last but not least part, you can take a step on into the bathroom. The light switch is on the left. It's a super spacious bathroom, which I thought was pretty nice. Above my head, you're going to notice there is a vent. Just turning it clockwise to open it up. Now, once you do open that up all the way, if you were to start traveling, there is a risk you run of damaging your vent lid. And of course, if it were to start raining, it is going to get wet inside here. That's why we do sell covers here at the shop. It's a cover that'll go over top of this vent. It is going to prevent rain from getting inside, and it's also going to prevent any damage happening to the lid if you were to start traveling and forgot it open. If you'd like to get set up with that, again, just contact your parts department. They'd be more than happy to help you out. And then counterclockwise to roll that guy down. And then once you do have it all the way down, a little bit of tension put on it, pushing that up locks it into place. The fan control is in the far right corner there. Got off, and then of course 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is going to be the highest setting, 1 is going to be the lowest setting. Now for the most important piece is this panel, this area here. You got your main GFI plug. Most of the plugs inside here are going to be hooked up through GFI. So you got reset in the middle, test on the bottom. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, just making sure this didn't trip for some random reason. So hitting that reset button. And then you got your monitor panel system. Hitting the tank is going to give you the corresponding level. Same thing goes for the battery. Water heater switch, water pump switch, turning that on draws out of your fresh tank. And then the water heater switch, turning that on does turn on the thermostat. Now you can either leave this switch on and do power on, power off using this, or I recommend just using the water heater switch itself, as it's just easier, and then it's not, when you know it's not on because the light won't be on. Up or down at any time to change your desired set temperature. You can change it between Celsius and Fahrenheit with the press of a button. And then you got a heated tank, holding tank system. So that is for extending camping season, but just keep it in mind, our Manitoba winters get much too cold for this to be adequate. So realistically, if you're going camping below -0, you're running the risk of things freezing, although this may help. That is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.